Hello, this is Leo Goodisman from San Francisco Opera Orchestra. I will be recording a few memorable events from the past of my over 40 years experience with this wonderful company. First, I would like to remember uh, uh, what happened during the Richard Strauss Capriccio. We had two productions. One was done in 1990. Kiri Takanova was singing the Countess. The second was done in 1993 as well. Kiri Takanova was there, but the Clarion, the actress, was different. In '93, it was late Tatiana Troyanos, a wonderful mezzo-soprano, fantastic human being who is no longer with us, unfortunately. And in 1990, the role of Clarion was sung by Hannah Schwartz, another great voice, great mezzo. I would like, first of all, to have a bit of a historical excursus regarding the opera. It was composed by Richard Strauss in 1942, right in the middle of the most horrible event of the 20th century history, World War II. Many cultural figures left Germany. Many were oppressed, arrested, and killed, but some remained. Toscanini, for example, chose to leave. Strauss, who succeeded his position as I believe it's called Reichsmusikkammer. It's a German state music, like a Ministry of Culture of Germany, State Music Bureau. So he agreed to work there. It would be easy and rushed to say that, therefore, he collaborated with the regime. First of all, his son was married to a Jewish person, and Strauss tried and saved many lives of Jewish musicians and also his Jewish relatives. And secondly, his reason for staying was probably that of basically preserving a great German culture, preserving it for all of us. In fact, in 1945, he still had to leave. He escaped to Switzerland and had very difficult financial circumstances in there. Anyways, the Capriccio is a light opera, his last opera, and very light opera. Strauss was 78, and in my mind, I was trying to think why, in the midst of this horrible military ordeal and bombings and hunger, why Strauss decided to write this sort of opera, almost as an operette feeling. I think it's because he needed an escape from the horrible realities of the times, and so he brings us to the second part of the 18th century, to a chateau near Paris. To make a long story short, there's a countess there in the chateau, and the count. Countess is the main character, and she marvels at the magic synthesis of words and music, while some other characters each of them argue their side. For example, Oliver, the poet, argues poetic side, the side of the words. Flamand, the composer, argues the music. And there was also a stage director who argues his side. And of course, the poet and composer are in love with the countess. Now, the Kiri Takano sang countess, gorgeous woman and gorgeous singer, so it was very believable as well. My funny story begins at one of the performances. I was supposed to play dances on stage, dressed in Versace costumes, for Versace designed the whole set, the whole set of costumes, and with me was a cellist and a composer, Flamand the composer, who supposedly, according to Strauss' libretto, composed these dances for the countess, and these dances were performed by musicians for her. Flamand, the composer, was supposed to accompany us on the tremolo, but of course the singer could not play this virtuoso part. Therefore, I was mic'd, and Patrick Summers was playing piano behind the curtain. Sorry, not piano, of course, the tremolo. Behind the curtain, Patrick is a very well-known conductor now in Houston Opera. And with me was a cellist as well. I was supposed to play the first slow dance, then an attendant or a servant was supposed to replace the page, put the previous page on top of the tremolo, and I would continue to a fast dance. 3 dances altogether. At that particular performance, Hannah Schwartz, who always liked to tinker with their dress, and that was a beautiful Versace dress, strapless. She tinkered with that to the point that it started to come down. It was coming down, and they had to bring a chair for her to sit down, not to lose it completely. Right before we went on stage to play our dances, that was the rumor backstage. We came out and started playing. Everybody is glued and looking at Hannah Schwartz losing her dress. After we finish the first dance, the attendant, who is standing a few steps away, is forgetting to remove my page of the first dance. And because it was attacca, meaning with no break in between the dances, and I didn't have even chance to knock it down, I started to play something by memory and partly improvise. I can only imagine what Patrick Summers, who was wearing earphones behind the curtain, what he was thinking of what was going on when he heard something that had nothing to do or little to do with Strauss music. The cellist who played near me, David Budd, also he gave me wide open eyes, and his mouth was open, and he didn't know what was going on. Fortunately, in the middle of our performance, I managed to knock the page to the ground. The first dance, the second dance was exposed. We finished together. Third dance, we played well. The servant, extranumeral person, later on apologized profusely. And I came actually to Donald Runnicles, who was the conductor, and I was ready to explain to him why the music that he must have heard was unusual. That was coming from me. So I came to him and I somewhat sheepishly I asked Maestro, how was it today? How was the performance? And to my astonishment and amazement, he said, oh, very good, very well, thank you. To my satisfaction, of course. As I mentioned, everybody was wearing Versace clothing. Even in 1990, it was a very expensive affair. My shoes were extremely comfortable. I loved my shoes. So I thought maybe after the run, I would have a chance to buy this used shoes. And I asked the department, the dressing department, whether I could buy them. They said they're not sure, they could find out. And they said, however, it will be at least $700. I said, for used shoes in 1990, it was a lot of money. So I said, yes, hand-stitched Versace design, of course. Why am I saying this now? I would like to emphasize the fact that the opera is wonderful, but it is very expensive. It needs support. I have to tell everybody that amazingly, the tickets that were sold for the summer season, a huge percentage of them, big percentage, was not refunded, but by the choosing of the ticket holders, were donated to the opera. It was an incredible act of generosity. Also, very big percentage had postponed their tickets, which meant they basically holding their money in the account of San Francisco Opera, and they will be using it for the future performances. And only small percentages asked for refunds. I guess what I'm saying is that thank you everybody for supporting this great form of art. And on my part, what can I do? I would offer my free services, of course, for the season ticket holders or people who donate a great deal of money, basically to come to them and play a concert for two violins or for a violin, viola, and cello at their leisure, and so we could enjoy music together. That's my first story of my over 40 years experience with the San Francisco Opera.